So today we're going to be talking about the most underrated fighters in every single UFC weight class. So starting off with the flyweights, we've got Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira has a professional MMA record of 16 wins, 1 loss. He is coming off a loss to Brandon Royval, which was a pretty close fight, but Brandon Royval definitely deserved to get the win in there. And in that matchup, Royval kind of exposed the big hole in Tatsuro Taira's game. And that is his striking. Look, when Tatsuro Taira enters training camp, he needs to pop a wee double XP boost because I'm unsure if this guy has unlocked any striking ability at all. Like, 45 overall striking was on display against Brandon Royval, but he's been able to get away with it for basically his whole entire UFC career up until that point because of just how good his grappling is. If Tatsuro Taira was able to just pick up like the basic fundamentals of striking, like kind of like what Kamaru Usman was able to do later on in his career, where it was like Usman picked up the ability to have a good 1-2. Anything else on the feet is non-existent, but he has a good 1-2, which then allows him to then utilize his wrestling as well. Tatsuro Taira, I'm hoping he's maybe near that point in his career where he unlocks those moves like a jab, a 1-2, because I think he could really go far and could be a future champion of the flyweight division. His grappling is elite. Like I said, he's been in the UFC for quite a while now. His best win is against Alex Perez. He showed moments against Brandon Royval, and Royval is the number one contender right now in that division. And he is booked to face Amir Albazi. I'm pretty sure that fight has been confirmed. But yeah, he's 25 years of age. He's young. He is probably one of the best grapplers in the division. And if he was able to just add the basic fundamentals of striking, like for example, head movement, someone needs to tell Tatsuro Taira, you can move your head. Because Royval was just pinging the head of him at some points in that matchup. But yeah, if he gets the fundamentals of the striking sorted, like a jab, straight left, straight right, he'll be home in a boat because the guy has really high level grappling. If he's able to use his striking to set up his grappling, money. Must be funny in a rich man's world. But yeah, Tatsuro Taira, underrated in my opinion. Moving on to bantamweight, look, this was a difficult one to pick because when I look through the rankings, I actually don't think anybody is really underrated in the division. I think everybody is rated fairly, but Figueiredo was kind of sticking out for some reason. I know he is on a 2-fight losing streak and he looked ass in there against Corey Sandhagen, like really dog shit. Like really bad. The guy looked horrendous in there, and he is injured now at 37 years of age. Is he going to be able to make a comeback? But when you look at the rankings in the division, like he's already beat Rob Font, he's already beat Chito Vera, he's beat Cody Garbrandt, who's not in the rankings, but still a notable win to have in the bantamweight division. I think you would beat others in the division, like Henry Cejudo, like Zahabi, like Song Yadong, like who else in the division? Trying to think of who else he could beat. Like I think he would do well against Mario Batista as well. Figueiredo is good, but like I said, I don't know if I'd class him as underrated because I don't think anybody's actually underrating Figueiredo's ability. But just in the bantamweights, it's hard to pick who is like a standout fighter that's underrated. So I've went with Figueiredo. Moving on to the featherweight division, it is Aljamain Sterling. Now, Aljo is the 9th ranked featherweight. This guy is top 5 material now. Aljamain Sterling, obviously the second best bantamweight of all time. He moved up to the featherweight division after losing to Sean O'Malley. He beat up Calvin Kattar, just absolutely mauled him in there, just completely out-grappled him. Nearly hit him with a Batista bomb as well. And then he went in there against Movsar Evloev, which was actually a really fun grappling contest. I know a lot of people like to shit on grappling, but that there was a fun matchup. I'm pretty sure like everybody can agree it was an enjoyable fight. But very inactive, Aljamain Sterling at this point in his career. He has called out the likes of Lerone Murphy, Arnold Allen, Brian Ortega. And when I think of the featherweight rankings, there's a lot of guys above Aljamain Sterling that he would beat, in my opinion. Like a Brian Ortega, like, let me see who he is above him just while we're here. Yeah, Lerone Murphy. I think he would beat Lerone Murphy. I think he beats Brian Ortega. I think he beats Arnold Allen. I think he beats Yair Rodriguez. He had a really close fight against Movsar, but Movsar definitely deserved to get his hand raised in that matchup. Ilya is not in the division anymore. Diego Lopez is a tough one for him because Diego Lopez also has really good jiu-jitsu, but again, so does Brian Ortega. But the striking, I think, from Lopez would be a problem. Yes, Ortega does crack as well, but Diego Lopez is a bit more like reckless, if you know what I mean. Like, he would just bomb rush Aljamain Sterling, and I don't think Aljamain Sterling is particularly a bad striker. He throws a lot of volume on the feet, which is good, which is what kind of masks some of the mistakes he makes on the feet. But like, you're not looking at Aljo and going, a striking masterclass is incoming, you know what I mean? You know he utilises his strikes to then set up his grappling, which is where he is elite. If this guy takes your back, it is good night, Irene. Good grappler, definitely better than the 9th best featherweight in the division. 100%, I think he could be like pushing top 5 if he was a bit more active and was getting the matchups that are there to be made. I think he might fight Arnold Allen next, and I would favour him in that matchup, to be honest. I like Arnold Allen. He does have power as well. Arnold Allen's very well rounded, but I think Aljamain Sterling's grappling and his ability to control his opponents when he gets them down is another big factor. Aljamain Sterling, criminally underrated. Moving on to the lightweight division. This guy right here is the sole reason for this video. Mateusz Gamrot is criminally underrated. Like, so underrated, it is insane. Gamrot's coming off a win over Ludovic Klein, which I know Ludovic Klein isn't ranked, etc. But when you look at his work before that, he's beat RDA, he's beat Rafael Fiziev. I don't care what anybody says, he beat Dan Hooker. Like, that fight was close, don't get me wrong. Dan Hooker, Gamrot. And also people say Gamrot's boring. He's not. Gamrot isn't a boring fighter. But Gamrot versus Dan Hooker was a close fight. But if that fight was anywhere outside of Australia, Gamrot would have won that. Factual information. The fact that it was a close fight, it was in Australia, Dan Hooker's from New Zealand, kind of tilted it to him. But Gamrot won that fight. And even when you look at other guys in the rankings above him, Gamrot's ranked number 7. When you look at people above him, he beat Dan Hooker, in my opinion. I think he would beat a Gaethje. He's already beat Arman Sarukian as well. I think Max Holloway's a difficult matchup for him. Poirier's obviously his teammate. He's not beating Islam, in my opinion, but I think he could beat a Gaethje. I think he could beat an Oliveira as well. I know people will disagree with me on that one, but Gamrot has that style that Oliveira kind of just caves into, which is a wrestler. And Oliveira then likes to work off his back, take too long, look for submissions, yes, but he takes way too long in there. So that's why I think Gamrot's underrated, I really do. Gamrot is underrated. Sole reason for this video, give Gamrot the respect he deserves. Gamrot's underrated. Moving on to the welterweight division, we have got Leon Edwards. Look, Leon Edwards, I have said some harsh things about the guy in the past. The fact I spent nearly my life savings to go to UFC London to see him against Sean Brady. But the guy's underrated. A lot of people are saying like he's the worst champion in UFC history, etc. But I think Leon's still good. Like, Leon Edwards was unbeaten for 9 years. He's beat RDA. He's beaten Donald Cerrone. He's beaten Usman twice. He's beaten Colby Covington. The guy's underrated. He's beat Gunnar Nelson as well. Nate Diaz. The guy's underappreciated. This guy knocked out prime Kamaru Usman. And before people get in the comments and say, it definitely wasn't prime Kamaru Usman. Usman was pound for pound number 1, I'm pretty sure, when Leon fought him for the second time. And then as soon as Leon knocked Kamaru Usman out, it was like, yeah, Usman's washed. That's the only reason Leon beat him. Usman's washed. Usman's washed. Then they have the trilogy. Leon beats him over in the UK, and again, it's like, well, yeah, of course he was going to beat Usman. Usman's washed. Leon isn't that good. No. This guy beat prime Kamaru Usman. Yeah, he beat prime Kamaru Usman. Even in his losses outside of Sean Brady, which was embarrassing, to be fair. The Bilal Muhammad UFC 304 matchup, go back and rewatch it. It's a close fight. It really is. He absolutely smoked Colby Covington in their matchup as well. Leon Edwards, underrated. Look, I would like to see a bit more aggression out of Leon when he fights. Like, you know, this isn't a fucking light sparring session. Let's see you try and inflict damage on some people. And at the slight bit of adversity, at least try and fight back. Don't just give in. But Leon Edwards, underrated in my opinion. A lot of guys in this division that he can still beat, in my opinion. I hope to see him fight Michael Morales next, because I think that's a fight that makes sense. Moving on to middleweight. Look, I was going to pick Imavov here, but I'm going to go for Brendan Allen instead. Brendan Allen is better than his number 11th ranked in my opinion. Brendan Allen is very well rounded. He's a big submission threat on the mat. However, that does cost him in his fights. Brendan Allen is submission over position, and that does cost him in his matchups, which is good when you're a fan watching it, because we all want to see finishes, and Brendan Allen is constantly looking for the finish when the fight hits the mat. But against the likes of Anthony Hernandez, his want for the submission cost him parts of that matchup. I think he's a good grappler, dangerous submission game, and I actually think he's pretty decent on the feet as well. He is fighting Marvin Vettori at UFC 318, and I expect him to just outclass Marvin Vettori in their matchup. Moving on to the light heavyweight division, don't lie and pretend that you haven't forgot Volkan Oezdemir is in the UFC still. I remember way back when this guy absolutely smoked Jimmy Manuwa and then got absolutely obliterated by Daniel Cormier. But he's got some sleeper wins in the UFC. I thought he was very hard done by in the Carl Solberg matchup. I thought he looked good in there. But he's beaten the likes of Rakic, Johnny Walker, he's beaten Bogdan Guskov as well. He's in the rankings. I'm trying to think of who else he's beaten. Let me see. I'm trying to remember. Did he beat Anthony Smith? I can't remember. Did he beat Anthony Smith? I actually can't remember the Anthony Smith-Volkan Oezdemir matchup. But either way, very well-rounded. Big puncher in my opinion. I think he would beat the likes of a Khalil Roundtree as well. I think he's good. I really do. I think he is very... He had a close fight against Dominic Reyes as well, and that was when Reyes was on the come-up before the Jones matchup. I think he's good. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's ever going to be champion or like challenging for the belt again, to be honest, but I think he's like a mainstay top 10 UFC light heavyweight. He is 35 years of age though, but he goes under the radar, Volkan Oezdemir. He's like good everywhere, but not great in certain aspects, although he does have big punching power. And finally, in the heavyweight division, Curtis Blaydes. Give this guy some respect. Bit of a fight IQ problem with Curtis Blaydes at times, yes. But Curtis Blaydes, really well-rounded, especially throughout his career. He's worked on his hands, his boxing ability. He's a big puncher, and his grappling, obviously. He's beaten Jildan Almeida. He absolutely beat the living piss out of him in the second round of their matchup. Technically, he's beaten Tom Aspinall. I know it was a bit of an injury, but still a win on Curtis Blaydes' resume. Jorginho Rosenstrike, he beat him. He's beat Volkov. He's beat Junior Dos Santos as well. Criminally underrated. He is going in there against Kuniev in his next matchup at UFC Fight Night Baku, and he's going to knock him out. So yeah, let me know your opinions in the comments below. Who is underrated? Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you all again in the next one.